Alright guys, let's dive straight in. So I am going to make two videos today. The first one I'm going to do is Lightroom, and then I'm going to post a second video that is in Adobe Camera Raw. But this first one is going to start off in Lightroom. So once you install the presets, if you're not familiar with it, the presets are actually going to show up in your developer panel. I actually went ahead and I made copies of all of these images, and they are edited with the original Fuji pack. But we're also going to make a copy that is edited with Fuji Pushed so that you guys can see the difference between the two packs. So first things first, let's select all the images that we're going to edit and hit the developer module. So I've got these organized side by side just so that we can see the difference. This is straight from the camera right here, and this is the JPEG version that I've already made with the Fuji preset. So we're going to take the original camera raw image, we're going to apply the pushed Fuji preset right here. One of the best things about these presets is that Mastin includes a copy for every camera type. Now this may seem like such an insignificant little thing, but if you look at them side by side, each camera has a different color and a different tone to them. So we want to make sure to use the preset that corresponds to the camera that we are using. And right now I'm using mostly Canon, so I'm going to actually open up the Canon folder. And you'll see instantly that the color pack is the first thing right here. So this right here is the film emulsion. This is Fuji Pro with all the different options, and then underneath that you'll see step 2, step 3, and step 4. So we're going to start off just focusing on step 1 right now. So the first step in editing with this preset is to pick which preset base you want to start with. Now these are based off of different film stocks, but they're also based off of different pushes. For example, push 1 is 1 stop pushed, push 2 is 2 stops pushed. You have your Fuji 400H and you have your Fuji 160 NS. The biggest difference though is that with the Fuji pack there is an additional Fuji push preset for blue. Now if you're familiar with the original Fuji pack, there's Fuji 400H and Fuji 400 blue. And the reason that we have that is for images like this where there's a lot of green in the background. If you apply the neutral to an image like this, the greens really pop out and they stand out. This is really evident when you are shooting on golf courses, or if you just have a lot of green in the background like you're in the middle of the woods or any of those kind of things. So Mastin provides you with a secondary Fuji option which has a little bit of a lighter green tone to them. That's where the Fuji Pushed Blue comes in. This is in the original pack and it is also included in the new pack for Fuji Pushed. So we're back on just straight from the camera, and we want to make sure that we are going to get the best color out of this. Now with Lightroom you get a little bit of a preview up here so you can kind of scroll through, and I think that I'm going to actually start this one off by using Fuji Pushed to Blue. So I'm going to choose the preset base, that's the first step, and that's instantly going to change all the color. But if your image is really underexposed and you want to make sure that you're seeing the colors accurately, make sure to add the exposure that you need first so that you can actually see a general idea of what the color is going to be like. Back to what we were doing, we're going to choose the Fuji Pro 400H plus 2 blue. Now the second step is to choose your tones. This is one of the coolest things about Mastin. You could really edit an entire image with just a few clicks because he's already preset some of these tones for you to get you the quickest images possible. You could still tweak them however you want, but a lot of the times we're able to edit entire image sets just by clicking a few things and synchronizing the images together. So in your tones you get the option of all hard, all soft, highlights hard, highlights soft, shadows hard, shadows soft. This is the same in all the presets that Mastin provides. For this image I'm going to go with all soft. Next up is whether or not you want lens correction on or off. The biggest difference that you'll see with lens correction is the vignetting that different lenses create, and this is adjustable based on the lens that you used. If you use a 35mm, it's going to adjust based on that. If you use a 50mm, it's going to be based off that, and so on and so forth. The other nice thing that the lens correction does is it actually corrects for the distortion that the lens created, so you get a little bit of a cleaner looking image. Now a lot of people have different preferences about that, but again, it's an option to turn off and on. It's totally up to you what you do. And then the last option is step 4, choosing whether or not you want to add grain. Mastin has provided 35mm grain or medium format grain, which is my preference. So in just a couple of clicks, we've already added everything that we need from the presets. So you can see right here, in 4 steps, we've added everything that we need. And now we are going to move over to the basics panel over here, and we're going to make a couple of slight adjustments just to make sure that the image is the best that it could be. The first adjustment that you need to make is exposure. You want to make sure that you are picking the exposure that fits your style the best. If you are a little bit more on the darker side, you might want to bring it down a little bit. If you're a little bit more on the lighter side, you might want to bring it up a little bit. It's totally up to you how you do it based on your style. Next up, we want to shift the temperature, and we are actually going to adjust that. We don't want it to be too blue, or else the skin tends to get a little bit blotchy and it'll kind of have a gray tone to it. And we don't want to be overly warm, or else they kind of look like they have a spray tan on. So the best thing to do is find that perfect middle ground for you. Some people like it more on the cool side and some people like it more on the warm side. Again, it is a preference and there is no right answer. It just really has to do with your style. And then lastly, if you need to, you can use the tint slider to adjust whether or not it's too pink or too green in your screen. Now, because there's a lot of green in the background, you may want to bring that up closer to the magenta side, or you might decide that you want to keep the skin tones a little bit less magenta and bring it down. It is up to you. One of the biggest pieces of advice I give using the tint slider is if you click on the number right here, you can actually use your arrows on your keyboard to take it up and take it down just very, very subtly, because sometimes the tint slider is a little bit hard to control and it could go way to the green side or way to the pink side really quickly. When I say pink, I really mean magenta, sorry. So clicking on the number and going back up and down helps you to control what level you want without going overboard. And that's it. You've officially edited your first image in the Fuji Pushed Preset. Now, if you'd like to see what this looks like side by side with the original Fuji pack, here we go. And you can see that this adds a lot of contrast and a lot of pop to the color. It's a really good way to add some contrast, especially in situations where you may have some light pollution or you may have something that's making the image feel a little bit too flat. Hopefully that helps you guys get an idea of what the Fuji preset looks like. I'm going to be making more of these videos with other images and I'm going to be uploading them soon. Thanks guys.